So this news came out last week, and I didn't find out about it until just recently, and this is very disappointing. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about the news about Battlefront 3 and the canceled content for Battlefront 2. I'm going to be talking about this just in case for the ones that don't know, but for the ones that do know, these are going to be my thoughts about this, and I'll be addressing the Battlefront 2 canceled content first, and then heading over to Battlefront 3, because Battlefront 3 is going to take longer to talk about. So, if you guys haven't enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, share this video with a friend, comment down below, guys, what do you think about this, and with that being said, let's get right to it. Alright, so starting off, we're going to be talking about Battlefront 2's canceled content in potentially 2020. So you guys, we all remember what happened in 2020. The Battle of Scarif update was the final update for Battlefront 2, and we did get a few extra updates that were bug fixes and patches and stuff for certain things and everything afterwards. But before we knew all of that, we knew that eventually we would go back to Clone Wars content, and the most likely of heroes to show up in the next Clone Wars season was going to be Ahsoka and Ventress. This was 100%, this was almost 100% guaranteed, with Dennis Brandville even saying back in 2018 and 2019 that Ahsoka and Ventress were being talked about. Padme was even being talked about. Cad Bane was talked about being added into this game and everything. They were going to be adding more female heroes, but in the 2.5 years of Battlefront 2 we have received during its lifespan, these heroes never came to fruition. And just recently, Dennis Brandville ended up going out. He was talking to some people out on Reddit and was asked about was there any canceled content that was going to be arriving after the Battle of Scarif, and this was going to be a Clone Wars season inspired by Clone Wars Season 7. And the heroes and the map were going to be Asajj Ventress and Ahsoka Tano, with the map being Mustafar. Now, this is kind of annoying because I really wanted to see these characters in the game. I was 100% supportive of these characters since they were even talked about since day one of Battlefront 2's lifespan, and honestly, it's really disappointing knowing that these characters were going to make it into the game and never coming to the light of day. Mustafar, I thought, would be an excellent map for like a heroes versus villains, a strike, a blast, a extraction kind of game mode. And honestly, you would probably think too, just because of how big the map was, but apparently it was going to be much bigger than what we were going to get, which honestly was awesome, And according to what Dennis Brandville had said, that Solist would have been the biggest representation for Mustafar, just terms of design and everything. And he also stated that Solist could have looked better, but pretty much Mustafar would have looked like Solist, but a little bit different in a lot of ways, which would have been really cool. And honestly, at this point, it's just like, what other stuff was canceled? What other characters and maps were canceled before they even got to see the light of day? And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up saying Padme, Cad Bane, Jyn Erso, Director Krennic, and all these other characters were canceled and other maps. So, yeah, I'm kind of annoyed about this. Not a huge problem for me, but I'm just disappointed and annoyed about this. So now let's talk about Battlefront 3. Alrighty, guys, so this recently came out. This piece of news for Battlefront 3 came out literally the day after the terrible news for Battlefront 3. And pretty much I'm just going to discuss this. Battlefront 3, according to Dennis Brandville, was pitched, or somebody out on Twitter ended up stating that Battlefront 3 was pitched as the next game. Battlefront 3 was going to be the next game, and most likely Ahsoka and Ventress and Mustafar would have been added along this game. But essentially, EA had turned this pitch down. They pretty much said, no, we're not going to be doing a Battlefront 3 to these DICE developers. And I think this makes a whole lot of sense on what was going on, because if you guys remember, back in 2020, the lead hero designer for Battlefront 2 left. The creative director Dennis Brandveld for both Battlefront 2015 and Battlefront 2 left. Employees and developers were leaving this because they had worked on Battlefront 2, and Dennis Brandveld even said that Battlefront 3 wouldn't happen without him. And honestly, I can 100% see why, because Dennis Brandveld was going to, he talked about all this different stuff and everything that was going to be added, and sadly never for wished to see on Battlefront 2. And this is just annoying because this makes a whole lot of sense. Battlefront 3 would have been the biggest selling game ever, especially after what had happened with Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 was a huge success at the end of 2019, in the third and fourth quarter of 2019, and the first and second quarter of the first and second quarter of 2020. Battlefront was a huge hit. It was making as much money as it was when it first launched. Servers were filled to the max. People were enjoying this game so much. Player count numbers were higher than ever before. And Battlefront 3 would have been the most obvious choice to make. So it doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't do it at all. And a person out on Twitter had pretty much this to say, and he had asked a EA/DICE developer about Battlefront 3 and everything, and why they're not making it. And according to this developer, he basically stated that Battlefront 3 would cost an extra 20% to make the exact same game sales compared to Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 2015, which that doesn't really make any sense to me, because why is this now a problem? Why is the cost amount a problem and everything? It doesn't really make any sense to me. It seemed like DICE and EA had no problem with the first two, but for some reason with the third one, it is a problem. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense why EA would not go for this. And one of the major things I've seen a lot of people say, it's because of Battlefield. Battlefield 2042 did really good in the beta. Yeah, a lot of people were enjoying it. The beta version, when the game officially came out, views went down, player counts went down because of bugs, lagging problems. There's a bunch of problems with the game, with Battlefield 2042, and according to this developer as well, they're also making another Battlefield game, which a bunch of developers who most likely worked on Battlefront 2 are going to be working on the next Battlefield game, which is stupid, because if Battlefield 2042 was supposed to be your big hit, the game that would save the franchise, then why are you going to make another one? I mean, yes, sales did really good, but yet reviews are bad. Player counts are down and everything. So it doesn't make any sense to do a sequel unless you're still trying to save a dead IP. Battlefront 3 would have probably made more money and would have been a huge success compared to what is going to be the next Battlefield game. And me personally, if I were to put myself in the shoes of the CEO of EA, I would rather continue to save my own IP than worry about this other IP that we've been trying to perfect for the past 6 years. And yes, I know a lot of people want Battlefront 3. I don't think we'll get a Battlefront 3 anytime soon. At best, I would say if EA decides to do Battlefront 3, I would say we will probably not get to see the light of day of this game till 2023, 2024, which sucks. But it is what it is. So, honestly, I'm annoyed, I'm frustrated. I really want a Battlefront 3. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get it. The Battlefront franchise is owned by Lucasfilm, so we will probably get another gaming company who will be working on the next installment. So, anyway, that is my thoughts for this piece of news. I figured I would share my thoughts and share this news. So, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you all very soon. Peace out.